Hello everyone, this is Captain Morgan. Today's November the 18th, 2011, and this is Pirate Video. I just want to quickly get on to a subject I should say, which I did previously in other shows. This is about Syria. Now, what we're seeing today in Syria, you've been hearing about it quite some time now. People protesting and demonstrating against the Assad government there for whatever means. Now, I want you to understand something. It was that this protest and demonstrations that you see, they call it the Arab uprising or Arab Spring. We've seen so much about this in Egypt, in Libya, in Tunisia, and so forth. And we already know what happened to those governments. I'm getting back onto Syria is that in no way, shape, form, or manner that these people woke up to one morning and stated that they had the discontent with the government, that they wanted more jobs or more pay and more say into the government and freedom of speech and democracy and so forth. This was brought upon the Syrian government by outside forces, and in particular by Israel and elements of the United States government such as the CIA. These governments had implemented and fabricated these uprisings years ago. Okay? Not overnight. Don't think that people rose up one day and started to mention that they wanted to all this political movements and more to say and more to do and so forth in the governments and per se. I want to give you a little example of what General Wesley Clark, our former NATO and command chief, and now our general, okay, of our military forces. General Wesley Clark stated that it is no secret that Syria has been marked for regime change for at least 2 decades. In his speech with General Clark, Wesley Clark stated regarding what he called a U.S. policy coup. He relayed a 1991 conversation between himself and then Secretary of State Paul Wolfowitz. Wolfowitz indicated that certain countries would have to be taken out of that area before a new superpower comes in the scene, namely Syria, Iraq, and Libya. Of course, Iran, which was part of it as well. Now, mind you, this was taken in context way before what you're seeing now. Following the September 11, 2001 attacks, Clark was again passed plans down and drawn to implement regime change throughout the Middle East, specifically to attack and destroy the governments of 7 nations, which was Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Somalia, Sudan, Lebanon, and Libya. In 2002, then under the U.S. Secretary of State John Bolton would echo those words, indicating that they would have to have a regime change in these countries, specifically in these countries in that area, in that region. Now, the role of the Western media that we hear today, every day, of our media, the Western media has played a central role in obscuring the nature of foreign interference in Syria, including outside support to armed insurgents. In course, they have described recent events in Syria as a peaceful protest movement directed against the government of Bashar al-Assad, when the evidence amply confirms that Islamic paramilitary groups are involved in terrorist acts. These same Islamic groups has infiltrated the protest rallies. Now, Western media distortions abound. Large pro-government rallies, including photographs, are casually presented as evidence of a mass anti-government protest movement. The reports on casualties are based on unconfirmed eyewitness reports or on Syrian opposition sources in exile. So our media is presenting news that the Assad government has been mowing down thousands of Syrians based on outside sources. Mind you, they are not in Syria. They are unconfirmed sources, no names, unreliable, no eyewitnesses, therefore. And Syrian forces are now running into heavy resistance. Okay? Awaiting them are anti-tank, traps, and weapons, fortified barriers, and heavy machine guns. Since when are peaceful civilian protesters using heavy machine guns, anti-tank weapons, anti-tank traps, and having all these weapons presented to them, since they call themselves a peaceful civilian protesters, and yet Assad's government forces are coming under attack by heavy machine guns, anti-government, anti-tank weapons, anti-tank traps. These are signs of insurgents against the Assad government. Again, planted there, orchestrated, and organized by Israel, America, such as the CIA, our government. Our government foreign policy, remember, is being directed from AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. We have no say in our foreign policy. We are dictated, our foreign policy is dictated from the state of Israel. Okay? And therefore we have to